of the hour is a matter that Allah alone possesses. We will further establish this in the section that Allah follows this one. Inshallah, we place our trust in Allah and upon Him do we depend. The Prophet foretold that those of his generation would expire before the passage of 100 years. Once, when the Messenger of Allah performed the Isha prayer at the end of his life, he made taslim, signifying the end of the prayer, and then he stood saying, "Do you see this night of yours? For at the exact time of 100 years from now, none from those who are on the earth today shall remain." The people erred regarding this saying of the Prophet. All that the Prophet said is, none of those who are on the earth today shall remain, and not as some people thought, that the world will come to an end, by which he meant that generation will come to an end, and Muslim related it as well, but through different chains of narrators. Regarding this hadith, a companion explained the meaning of the hadith according to his understanding, and he is more worthy of understanding it than all others. He explained it to mean that no one who was alive at the time that the Prophet spoke his words was going to be alive after the passage of 100 years. The scholars differed among themselves. Is this ruling specific for that generation, or is it general for all generations, that no one lives longer than 100 years? That this hadith is specific to the Prophet's generation is what is clear and more appropriate, for it has been witnessed that some people have lived for longer than 100 years. Some of these instances we have related in our book of history. Nonetheless, even that if very rare among people, and Allah knows best, this hadith is also related through other chains from the Prophet. Reported that 1 month before his death, the Messenger of Allah was asked about the hour. He said, "You ask me about the hour, when indeed its knowledge is with Allah alone only. And by the one who has my soul in his hand, I do not know a soul today upon whom 100 years will come." Ahmad alone related this narration, and its chain is Hasan, good. Its narrators are all trustworthy ones. 1 month before the Prophet died, I heard him say, "You ask me about the hour, when indeed its knowledge is with Allah alone. And I swear by Allah, there is not a breathing soul on the earth today upon whom 100 years will come." Ahmad Muslim related the same hadith but through a different chain of narrators, about the nearness of the end. When the Bedouins would come to the Messenger of Allah, they would ask him about the hour. He would look at the youngest person among them and say, "If this one lives, old age will not reach him until the hour of each one of you arrives." Muslim, who alone related it, reported that a man asked the Messenger of Allah, "When will the hour arrive?" A boy from the Ansar called Muhammad was there, and the Messenger of Allah said, "If this young boy lives, then perhaps old age will not reach him until the hour arrives." In another narration, reported that a man asked the Prophet, "When will the hour arrive?" The Prophet remained quiet, and then he looked at a young boy before him, who was from Shanoa. He then said, "If this one is given long life, then old age will not reach him until the hour arrives." That boy was of my age at that time. Muslim alone related this narration, and in another narration, a boy who was of my age and who belonged to Mughira passed by. The Prophet then said, if life for this one is prolonged, then old age will not reach him until the hour arrives. Related it through a different chain of narrators. These narrations point to the frequency of the same question being asked, as well as to its answer. The intended meaning is not an indication of the exact time of the greater hour, the end of this world, based on the old age of the said children in the above narrations. Rather, the intended meaning is that the hour of those